What's up, Deadheads, and welcome to DGT Live. I'm your host, Jonny Walker, doing the most ambitious thing I've probably ever done, trying to host a Walking Dead show with all the Walking Dead family. This is what makes, whether you like the Walking Dead at this point or not, there are definitely, the detractors for this show, myself being one of them. However, this is what it's all about, having a big Walking Dead family to either talk great about the show, talk shit about the show. Either way, I'm sure we have enough people with enough opinions that will get all of them. So I'm going to just start from Dead Guy Ty will be joining us momentarily, as usual, on DGT Live, on Dead Guys Talking. But I'm just going to kind of go down the line of how I see them. And I'm going to introduce first, making his triumphant return. You've been gone far too long, sir, from across the pond in that little island called England, Mr. Alex Scott from The Walking Dead. Thanks for coming back.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone.
And returning champion, I might say. And I'm glad that you are. You have that in the back, Dan. Rebekah, I'm sorry.
Get on with it. Come on, let's keep going.
What have you been up to, Alex?
Just everyday stuff, innit? New job now, so unfortunately I haven't had as much time as I would like to spend on the channel. So I'm just getting accustomed to doing that. But hopefully in the near future, everything should be back to normal.
Excellent. Well, and we're sad that we can't have Rick, better known as Josh, on here as well. But, half of mom and dad is always great. Do you have a special guest joining you tonight, Alex?
I do. I have the Hobgoblin IPA, if I don't drop it.
Wonderful.
Very excited for.
Awesome. All right. Now, coming back to the States, down the road, we have from Arizona, Mr. Felix from Thought Factory. Thanks for coming back, sir.
What's going on, man?
Excellent. Special guest out of the way.
Yep, I'm drinking my Effin with Jose mix, and this drink is effing good. Sorry about the pun.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming back, sir. So now we're going to move a little bit north from Arizona to Indiana. You know them, you love them. Just fresh off of their episode of Spoiling Dead, they are doing the Walking Dead marathon tonight. That is Mr. Tony Walters, Miss Rebekah the Note Taker Erb, and Mr. Daniel Murphy from RAD Entertainment. Thank you guys for coming on.
Hello. Hey, thanks for having us. Yeah, thanks for having us. As always. Yeah.
Yay!
no special.
No special. Fuck, more Walking Dead. No.
H2O. Yep, just drinking water. Oh yeah, let's get a drink of that.
Awesome. Yeah, so H2O all around. How did the show go, guys? How did Spoiling Dead go?
It went pretty good. Yeah, we're excited to talk about it all again.
Yeah.
All right. Now traveling back further up north, and this is a 3-country show. We got England, we got the U.S., and we also have the Great White North from Canada. We have making his triumphant return, Ted from the Card Sphere. Thank you so much for coming back on, dude.
Hey guys, and I brought with me in honor of Morgan a little beer called Prophets and Nomads because Morgan's on the move. But this is kind of some messed up stuff. It says that it's pink Himalayan salt and coriander. So I have the Fear of the Walking Dead Corona for backup if this one's no good.
Excellent. Awesome. We got I also have a backup, but we'll get to that in a minute. And finally, not finally because Dead Guy Ty will be on soon, but finally right now on the panel, now from San Diego, California, my wonderful sister, The Walking Deb. Thank you for finally joining us.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello. I have a special guest with me tonight. I have a Scorpion Bowl IPA by Stone, local brewery. Haven't tried it before. Good stuff. And it's good to see you all and glad to be here.
Nice. So the last time that you were on the channel, I was, unfortunately kicking your ass at trivia.
No. We won't even talk about that because no.
Awesome.
Trivia. Well, I want to play trivia.
Yeah, I'm in too.
Hey.
I have questions, you guys.
She does. She writes. She is the keeper of the questions. And today I am joined by the Pale Death, I try to keep it on theme. This is a Belgian style Imperial IPA. This one is a 8.5%er, so I'm going to get drunk. There's this guy, and then I have a backup just in case it doesn't do the trick, Umbrella Pelican. I'm always getting my beers from my very good guy at Northwest Beverage, Mr. Christian. Thank you again for hooking this up. Tyler was here in town. We did an in-studio thing last week, and he got to taste the fruits of what Christian offers. So Christian is real, folks. Hashtag Christian lives. But we're here to talk about The Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 16, Wrath Finale. Okay, so I want to go to Felix real quick because I think you might have been the only one that actually saw the double feature of The Walking Dead Finale and Fear premiere in the theaters. So tell me about that, sir.
Dude, if they ever do it again, I highly recommend it. The biggest thing is the when you're watching and then something's happening, commercials. In the theater, it doesn't lose the momentum at all. It's just scene and then just like in a movie, next scene. So as soon as Father Gabriel jumped out of the car, then he was rolling down, and it kept that the anticipation you had. You were glued. Seeing it with a crowd, normally when we watch it here, no one can talk. Only from the commercials hit, then we all talk and throw in our what we think's going to happen and so forth. But seeing it there, and the 2 times, I don't know if you want me to get into it now or not, the cheering that went on, and actually 3 times, the cheering that went on gave me goosebumps. It was awesome. I loved it. Highly recommend it. I did too jock this cardboard cutout. I don't know if you guys can see it behind me.
Oh, yeah.
And I got some posters too. So I was telling him, if you guys want any posters, let me know. I grabbed a grip of them, and I don't mind sending you guys some. You want them?
Ooh,
it was awesome though.
I want a poster.
Felix comes bearing gifts. All right, so you guys, so Rad, you guys are fresh off talking about the finale on Spoiling Dead. So I mean, what were some of the? Well, let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning of the episode. I have to say, the opening credit, or right after the opening credits, when you see Rick walking down the street with not his son, but I digress. I thought of Rebekah Erb.
Didn't we all?
I thought of Rebekah Erb, and I wanted to get an over/under on if she was crying or not. Would I have won this bet?
Oh yeah. I mean, it didn't even take 10 seconds. I was already crying and was like, "Oh, look at baby Carl." So yeah, he would have won the bet.
Yeah, right when that scene started, I looked at Dan and I said, "I bet Becca's crying." You should all be bitched right now.
Dan, were you a little weirded out that that was not his son?
I caught a few weird side glimpses of him, and it just took me out of it. But yeah, if they'd have kept the distance a bit, it would have been better.
Yeah,
they got a little too up close and personal with chubby, freshly shaved-faced Rick. I mean, he looked like he had a tan too. It just was a bit funny. But
Tony, do you think they should have done like the Grandma Tarkin trick on Chandler Riggs, Carl?
Let's be honest here. The Walking Dead does not have that kind of budget.
They do not. Deers aside, Deb, did this scene affect you as much as it did Rebekah?
I thought it would, but it really didn't, because Rick looked too not like old Rick, and Carl obviously was this little chubby kid, and no. I thought it would, but no.
Awesome. Okay, so then where are we going next? Alex, you have the best photographic Walking Dead memory of all of us. I mean, you have a fucking belt to prove it. So
Not for long.
Shots fired, sir. Yeah, I think we're going. Where does it pick? I think it picks up on the road. Oh no! It was I did like this part because it was a nice flash from that nice little touching moment to those close-up Walker faces, and this show was definitely directed by Greg Nicotero, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so, I like your note-taking abilities there, John.
That's right. This is my note-taking. Yeah, but going toward it shows that more Morgan freaking out, and it had some nice setup with Morgan finally, or a lot of that weird stuff of him seeing ghosts, and I did, talking about England and Alex Scott, it did have a nice callback of Shit Rat, Jared's character. It was kind of a nice callback to American Werewolf.
Who are you directing that towards?
I agree.
I don't know how many times I gotta say Alex Scott for this motherfucker.
I think just one more time. Just, yeah. Is this when he's got his back all torn up and shit?
It's when the guy's buddy comes back from the dead, isn't it? After being eaten by the werewolf, and he visits him and plays with Mickey Mouse, and it's all jokey but gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Skin all hanging.
I kind of just wanted to see just more gore from him, to be honest. Yeah, I kind of wish he was just like a walking spine. I wouldn't even care he was floating. Just give me more guts, right? Because he was such an asshole.
Well, it was good to see Jared again. Ted, did you like how they did the callback, or did you think they paid that off? Because you're someone that watched both shows, and we'll get into Fear later with the tie-in and everything. But did you like how they kind of wrapped up the whole Morgan seeing ghosts, like Sixth Sense Morgan?
No, I've been, I haven't really been on board with Morgan flapping back and forth from crazy to sane so many times, and it seems like he's sane when they need him to be, and he's crazy when they need him to be, and it wasn't really my bag, and I kind of I wasn't super happy with Morgan, and I'm looking forward to the craziness and the killing non-killing conflict to be over.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, what? Sorry.
Same.
Yeah, I agree as well.
Yeah,
but that's who he is, though. He can't. He's already there. If they go away from that, I think that'll be too jarring. For me, it would be, because he's messed up already. He's effed up.
I completely.
No, I agree. Morgan's gone. Morgan's he's beyond the point of no return at this point.
He's been there before though and come back, but
Yeah.
what we're saying is I think it's overdone. They've done too much of
For
it with it.
it's not overdone for me, just because he's suffering from PTSD. So
Right.
this mental battle that he's going on, he's gonna have this fluctuation of high
Right, well,
points
that's
and
what I
low
was trying to
points. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fine if they do it. I just think that they should show the consequences of that more, and actually have him kill one of their own people. That would have
there's
been
no
cool.
danger.
I think
there.
that's
It's
what they
just
did with
annoying.
Henry, and I kind of like that they did it with Henry.
Yeah, but he should have
because
stabbed him in the
allowed
Me
face.
too.
Darn enough that it was Henry and it was the kid, but not so much that he actually went full on. Because if he went full on and killed somebody, how is he going to get out of that, even though he's going through this mental thing?
Right. Well, then
You know,
they
it's
just
way
kick
more
him out and
interesting.
let him and make him
Yeah.
leave
And that
instead
would have
of
been
right.
his
Yeah.
crossover
That
thing.
The poor guy's hallucinating. I mean, he doesn't even know what he's seeing anymore. It's
And
just
Yeah, for sure. And that's definitely part of his, what this is. He knows that he's going crazy. He knows that he's seeing things. And,
Rick's been there. Rick's
oh, for
done it.
sure, yeah.
I think Fear's going to touch on it, but I don't think they're going to be as much as Walking Dead was. But they will touch on it.
so you think they're gonna iron out his crazy just a little
Pretty-
bit?
A little bit, but he's still
Yeah.
going to have it. It'll make sense. It won't make sense if he just all of a sudden doesn't have it.
no, it
Maybe-
won't go away.
Maybe somebody in the fear world will have the exact prescription he needs.
Nick,
Right. Yeah. All right. So let's go over to the sanctuary now. Negan he's got Dwight already in the A suit. He's got his little group of merry men ready to get sacrificed. Little do they know that's happening. There was so much little cross, double cross, where it just kind of went super TV show for me. Alex, what did you think about that?
I kind of liked it. How, obviously Rick, after he took out the other people, the trap, he kind of realized that it was a trap, but he carried on. But then he fell into another trap, which ended up being a trap from Eugene. I kind of liked how it all just kept spiraling out and out. Although I just felt like there just wasn't enough. Like, it was supposed to build up to this big, like, climatic part for All Out War. And then it was almost as if AMC just kind of ran out of budget. It was just like, yeah, we can do this, but if you could just not do that anymore, that'd be great.
It was almost as if everybody's guns just backfired.
I mean, it's true. It's right in the title. A build up to it's called All Out War. This was supposed to be. I mean, the most war that we saw, in my opinion, was Simon's group storming the hilltop, right? Or Ted, were you a little bit let down with kind of the lack of action from this episode?
I thought there should have been a lot more action the last couple episodes, actually. You know, I wanted the pacing to ramp up to this. I mean, I think it was cool that Oceanside showed up with the Molotovs and that sort of thing. But I tend to agree that I want a little more. And about the point when they were first back at Sanctuary, one thing that really bugged me, and Deb, I'll say that I think your hair looks gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
But that kid,
the blue hair guy,
the kid taking the time to dye his hair blue when like undead corpses are walking around, like I'm not buying it. It bothered me to see dyed hair.
That's why he was fake.
Totally bothered me.
Negan didn't like it either. They just used him.
Yeah, maybe that's why Negan blocked it. What's this guy doing? Okay, off you go.
Granted, it was All Out War. I feel that they took care of that the first 4 episodes, where it was just fighting all those episodes. This episode's more about payoff, even though it was the tail end of All Out War. It was all about payoff, and they did. They pretty much put a bullseye in every single storyline.
I think what I've been saying this kind of since the last season is that I feel like these past couple of seasons have been designed to binge watch. And if you were to watch this season episode after episode, like on Netflix, it would feel better paced and more like an All-Out War.
Like you said about the commercial.
I 110% agree with you, because again, I saw it at the theater, and with no commercials, I was just almost white knuckling, even though it wasn't, action, but all the payoff and everything, it just had us all there. The whole crowd, like I said, on the Oceanside moment, and then the Eugene moment, everyone in that theater was clapping. I mean, like I said, I got chills. It was awesome. And it was no commercials. There was nothing to take you out of it. So I agree with you on the binge watching.
I feel like though they need to see their audience and write stories that cause a little bit more reflection and give you the time to reflect. Like, we talk about these shows every week, but is there really a lot to talk about? Is there a lot to go into? Is there a lot to speculate on? I don't really feel like they give us enough to do that to span a weekly show. I feel like if they changed their model and if they wrote it better, or if they just changed the model, be like, hey, guess what? Day one, boom, here you go. Here's the whole season. Just watch it because it'll be better that way. Game of Thrones lets you, there's so much going on that you have to reflect and look back and read a bunch of stuff and who is this character? What are they doing?
It's just not as deep, is it?
No, it's very
without
shallow.
the Eugene moment this episode, I don't think it would have been enjoyable at all, because it felt like if Macaulay Culkin was battling Macaulay Culkin, and it was just like all these little traps and things going wrong, and then they were peekabooing around a tree. It's like, where's the fight? We give up. There was nothing for me as far as the battle. But Eugene's moment, even though it was slightly predictable, really did make the way he presented himself and performed it was awesome.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I think we just derailed your show, John. Sorry.
Oh no, sorry. I was messing with the chat. So yeah, the chat's not working on the screen like I wanted it to. So I was looking on I was back to the phone, just kind of trolling over there. But and seeing where the fuck Tyler is, but that's beside the point. We need one more person, right? But yeah, okay, so let's see. Yeah, so and see, that's the thing. You guys said it best. They did make these last 2 seasons. If I had to watch, okay, I'm gonna come out right here. I don't watch it on TV. We'll just leave it at that. I think Alex is kind of with me on that one too.
No, I am too. I don't watch it on TV either.
Okay.
For me.
I still watch it, so put it together however you want to put it together.
You can just fast forward.
Yeah, right. If I had commercials to deal with, this show is paced so poorly sometimes. Even though it's a great show and all that, but it is a slow burn, slow going show. And if I had to finally get some action sometimes, and then had to cut to a commercial break and then care afterwards, I couldn't do it. So I think you guys are completely onto something where this show is definitely meant for the new streaming kind of platform.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's something that they could, think about going forward if the show lasts, even that long, and it probably won't. But I couldn't imagine having like Felix said, like sitting and seeing it in the movie theater. I probably would have enjoyed it, a lot more, seeing it, getting that kind of ambiance to it. But just watching it kind of how I watched it, it was good and it was paced okay. But if I had to watch it with commercial breaks, forget it. I probably would have dropped the show a long time ago. But so moving on. What's that?
You know what else the movie theater would have done? Is let you see the herd the first time.
Yeah.
It's like, so we're worried about this landscape now? What the fuck?
All I heard was landscape. What the fuck? What did you say?
So the first time the big massive herd was seen, I couldn't see it 6 feet away from a 46-inch TV. So
right. So here's a question, and this might be spoilers or speculation, and this is kind of more for the comic book readers. Is that kind of the herd with the whispers? Was that the big tease?
I think it's got to be the tease because there was no other point to it, right?
Yeah, there were some little clues that I guess
like
people dug up, like the posts and all that. But
I don't think it was the whispers, but it
could be mixed
made you raise your eyebrow, like, hey, that's whispers. But I don't think they were in that herd or nothing. But I think it just
there was hinting to it.
Yes,
foreshadowing.
That's the word I was looking for.
And that's 100% true, because at the end, Rick says it's not about this, this war, the people versus people. It's about us versus them, and that's very telling because if you are caught up and you know who the Whispers are basically human walkers. They integrate themselves into walker herds. So that is kind of it's kind of telling, kind of in a fun way, saying, next season it's about us versus them, which means us versus not only the zombies out there, but also the Whispers. Let's see so we go to the big scene. I can't even say we go to the big scene. There was really no big scene.
Here's the thing that upsets me the most, and I know it was about like them outwitting each other, but when we've given some kind of build up, like the plan is we're going to just take everybody out before they even know what's going on. Like, I would have been a lot happier if 3 main people died last night.
I was definitely expecting it.
I think since the beginning of the season, or it was the last season with Negan bashing the skulls, I really feel like they've tamed it down a lot. Like, and they're not giving us what this show should partially be all about.
I think there was a lot of backlash when that happened.
But it's really hurt to show the fact that they've cut back on that, and that's what made Negan scary,
Right. Well, they also this season needed to humanize Negan as well. So,
right, I agree with all that and the storytelling, but the lack of violence in the show now, especially with the finale, the way it played out.
Right. Going to war, people should
not a war.
Right, it's not a war.
Even one death would have been nice.
I agree.
Something. And forget about war. It wasn't even a fight. I felt like the one-on-one fight with Negan and Rick in the comic had more energy than I got off the screen.
So anticlimactic.
It felt like they all went out into a tiny field and just filmed it in about 30 minutes, and then that's it.
A friend of mine said the same thing too, anticlimactic. But to me, I liked it. I really liked this episode. It was all payoff. It gave me chills like 3 times. Like I said, the audience cheered another couple of times. It was, I don't know, it was maybe because it was in the theater and it raised it a notch instead of a 3.5, it's a 4.5. But it was a good experience. I don't know. I really liked the season finale. I know I could see why people might not. And the same thing with the first Fear episode. I could see how people can not like it because it was a little slower tone, but I love that tone that they set there.
I am right there with you, Felix, because I loved it. It paid off for me, but I can see why people have an issue with it. But man, that energy in the theater was the energy in my household.
Yeah, I'm a horror
I was
guy,
going
so
nuts.
I watch it for that aspect. A lot of it, and I hate the Hallmark Channel, so I have to turn it off.
Alex, were you disappointed with the lack of main character kills? And I mean, you've been on here for a couple times. My love for Tara. I thought Tara was 100% gone. I thought Eugene was 100% gone.
Yeah, we're
you pissed off that they kept these people alive?
Yeah, I'm quite pissed that they kept Eugene alive because he'd been such a prick for like the last season and a half, and like everyone's been saying, it was predictable that he was going to eventually redeem himself.
Yeah.
But it's just like, at this point, can you really come back from being such a complete dick?
Well, he took out the whole gang, and it was the only thing that was out of everything what we're all saying, that was the only thing that I agree with. Everyone else should have died.
Yeah.
Well, even it would have been great for Eugene to redeem himself and then die. Like that's what. At
this point, I just want to see him dead.
We were talking about it earlier.
They're gonna totally go the comic route. You could tell by the way Rosita was looking at him at the end of that, which you guys know that
they make babies.
They
cohabitate. Meaning Rosita.
I'm sorry. I like I said, I tend to talk and say too much, but yeah, something happens in the comics where I think they're gonna go that route. So if they would have killed him, I mean, there's no way they could have done that. Obviously, never mind. Sorry if I spoiled that.
You did give him one good one though. For puking on her.
Right.
Oh, that was good when she decked him. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was so good.
That's how all first dates go.
The GFY geek, I'm even checking the chat. The GFY geek says there was no "oh no, not them" moment. I was almost sure they would use this to thin the character herd, and the little mullet babies. Oh, okay, I get it from Eugene Rosita.
There should have been that moment, and I missed that there wasn't that moment. There should have been that oh my god moment, and I didn't find one anywhere.
No stress, no tension. What about when Herschel was about to die? There was none of that feeling.
You know what it was? It was spoiler alert for Lord of the Rings series, but it was Return of the King. Once freaking Aragorn got all the dead people to just kind of wipe out the rest of the army. Like he should have done that from the beginning, right? It was just it was that reset cheat code, and it was just like everything went right for the heroes in this, and that's really weird to see. And that I couldn't help, and I hate comparing the two because it's not fair. But I totally put the comparison to watching Game of Thrones and watching The Walking Dead. And I'm just like, if this is Game of Thrones, everyone but 2 people would fucking be dead. But it's The Walking Dead, so there was now no deaths. It's just like, yes, I understand. Like someone said, I'm not even keeping track. Someone said earlier that there was I think it was Tony, a lot of backlash for the big character deaths like a Carl earlier in the season, and I get that, but there are so many B and C characters. Like we could have lost a Tara, we could have lost an Aaron. Even though he's a main build. I didn't even see Aaron. Did you guys see Aaron in that?
I think he was in that crowd, but I don't remember seeing him.
No, Aaron.
Yeah,
he was on screen with the Oceanside women.
Right.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah.
Drinking water off a car hood.
Another thing, and Ted, you're a comic book guy. Were you pissed off that Negan didn't break Rick's leg in the fight?
Yeah, I was kind of being pissed off about the fight in general. Just didn't do much for me. I wanted it to be a tension moment, and I didn't really experience any tension. Like someone said a moment ago about the tension before Herschel's death, and I wanted some tension, and it really didn't feel like a whole lot to me. But I mean, broken leg. What's the broken leg going to add to it? I don't know.
Well, I mean, they wouldn't pull the trigger and cut off Rick's hand.
Right.
have the governor cut off his hand. So I guess, not only does Andrew Lincoln want to not pretend like he doesn't have an arm, he doesn't want to limp.
I'm okay with them not taking off his hand, only because I hate when a character has a cupped thing on their hand, like in a show, because you can always tell
it's there.
Like when Daryl's brother, what's his name, Michael Rooker's character, when he lost his hand, you can always tell his arm was just a little bit longer.
Merle.
Yeah.
The thing was, it was so close. I mean, they almost took out Gabriel. They almost took out Simon. They almost took out. I mean, right there, and there was no set. It was nothing. It was like nothing. It was,
right.
Did you want to see Gabriel go at that point? I thought that was going to be at least the sacrificial lamb was going to be Gabriel.
I did too.
Right, but we talked about this earlier on our show, that moment is actually really cool, because with Eugene freaking out on Gabriel and
did you guys get that? My brother was tripping on that too.
Yeah,
but
he didn't want.
He saved him, because if Negan would have pulled that trigger, that gun would have backfired and thrown him.
Or anyone else. If anybody would have shot him, they would have known what Eugene.
Partially why he was so angry. He was
That's a good point.
but also protecting his plan. He was the only one that knew the plan.
So great.
Yeah.
So great.
But how cool would it have been if Negan would have pulled the trigger and it backfired, and then they killed Eugene and his whole plan was foiled, and then they ran in with no weapons? That'd have been cool too.
Oh, that's true. They would have went into the war with no weapons.
But wait a minute, Negan did fire because his hand got injured, right?
Yeah, that was later.
They actually got when they got there.
That was later. This is when they jumped out of the car and they chased him into the woods.
Eugene gave him his gun, and
Eugene was like,
"Steel," and they swapped it. He used that gun and gave it back to Eugene. That's the one with the working bullets.
Okay.
I have a question. Why were there stained glass windows in the middle of nowhere?
Thank you. I've been wondering this.
I mean, why? I did not.
That's all they had left in the budget.
The same reason why
I mean, like, who does that?
You know what? I was thinking about that too, and I was wondering, where did the governor die? Because Jared died in a church, right? And I was thinking maybe they wanted to have that sort of church tone with the stained glass window. Plus, they obviously needed to get Rick something sharp, and hey, windows.
Right,
They could have been better. Like, they could have done a better job with a sharp thing, like stained glass windows hanging from a tree in the middle of the woods. Like, I don't. Just that bothered me.
Use an acorn like a real man, Rick.
So I'm gonna ask this question to Alex. I mean, if you don't know, Alex has a Walking Dead motion comic book channel. So who's gonna know this more than you? Do you think, or not know it because it's speculation, but do you think they didn't pull the trigger on Negan breaking Rick's leg because Rick becomes so much of kind of a background character and Carl goes forefront? And obviously we saw what happened to Carl.
There's Tyler.
What's up, gang?
There we go.
Go on, man.
Hey, you son of a bitch!
I made it.
Show's over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Perfect timing then.
Spread the disease. Everyone point and boo this man. No. No, but yeah, Alex, go ahead.
To be honest, I'm not really too sure why they didn't do it. I was really disappointed when it didn't happen. Like, as soon as Negan hit the floor, I was just there like, gone. Break his leg, break his leg, break his leg. And it didn't happen. I can't see why, other than, like you said, now that Carl isn't there, they're probably going to plan on making Rick still the protagonist, which I think is a bad idea, because in the comic it was awesome that our main character has taken a backseat, and the rest of the characters are kind of doing his bidding, if you know what I mean, and having their own, like, I guess their own show, really, with their own separate storylines.
Yeah, well, in the comic books, you think that they would have to do that just to keep it going. I think the show feels like it's kind of just coming to an end. So, like, I think it's got like maybe 2 seasons left in it. So you can't just switch your main character out if you plan on closing your show.
I think they hinted at your broken leg thing with the premonition that he was having with the cane. I think that's kind of all you're going to get about that.
Yeah.
I think that was what you're getting. That was the nod to it.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I think that's all we're going to get with the broken leg, because why have that vision and then turn around and it actually happened?
I think it's just for the comic book readers.
Yeah, it's just an Easter egg for the comic book reader.
Yeah,
I think you nailed it right on. With Carl being gone, Rick's going to be the main, that protagonist, and
He has to be.
And he can't be walking around with a limp.
Definitely not going to be Maggie, is it?
And that's kind of a good segue, like you said, Tony. It's like this, and I think we were talking about this earlier, back and forth off the air, where we said it kind of felt like a series finale. And I was watching Spoiling Dead, and even Rebekah said if they kind of ended this episode,
they tied up everything,
yeah, in a way where they kind of wrapped everything up. They even extended the olive branch to up, Jadis. And now the artist formerly known as Jadis, now known as Anne, Tyler's favorite character. So they did. They could have. It felt like a complete show wrap up, but
I read that yesterday. Like Scott Gimple had said that this was going to feel like a series finale more than like a season finale, because of what they're doing next season is basically kind of doing a soft reboot on the whole show.
Yeah.
But the way the episode ended made me go, no, you're not. But it's still the same stuff.
Instead of a soft reboot, they should do a hard last season and out of the water.
And that's how it felt. It felt like a reboot, because but that's how, and we'll talk about this a little bit later when we're talking about Fear. Even the opening credits are different. Maybe they are going in a complete, new showrunner, new everything. They're going in a complete different direction, and they wanted to kind of end this show as we know it and kind of have a whole new beginning, or a new world, so to speak. Tyler, I want to ask you this. I've been waiting for you to come on. We've been talking about that. You and I started this show, but you and I have been talking about Daryl for forever. That's your favorite character. But the Daryl versus Dwight, him taking him down the road. What did you think? Did you think Dwight was gonna get killed by Daryl, or did you think that maybe Daryl was gonna die or something? How did you feel about that scene?
Honestly, I didn't really think. Didn't think it was going to lead to anything. I thought it was just going to maybe a small scuffle, and that would be it.
Oh, Tyler, do you have a special guest with you? I'm sorry.
Well, I do, but not a typical special guest. I got Nestle Pure Life.
Finally, switch teams.
Damn RAD Entertainment bastards infecting the show.
Nice. No, I have got to keep a little clear-headed today, so.
Still better than a Pabst.
This is true.
Wah, wah.
Deb, how did you feel like they wrapped? What were your feelings about how they wrapped up the show? Didn't it feel like a series finale for you, or did
it kind of did? The only thing that kind of left it open was like that massive herd of like thousands of walkers that came out of nowhere that they're somehow going to have to deal with eventually, because that just doesn't go away. But other than that, yeah, it kind of did. I mean, to me, and I this is going to sound brutal, but parts of that episode felt like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. It was like everything went too well. Everything was like too positive. Everything was like, let's just all smile and be happy. And it's a whole new I had a hard time with that. But yeah, other than the giant herd of walkers, it did feel like kind of a series wrap up in a way.
And the little exposition between Jesus and Morgan, right? Because that kind of set him up for his journey later on, because we were kind of, Morgan was kind of keeping the ball and going forward. He's like, oh, well, you don't, but it was so easy, right? He's like, Morgan, you don't have to kill again. So Morgan's like, you know what?
Like
you're right.
Chandler now? Is he like Morgan's like he has like I'm on a leash? I wasn't real fond of Jesus so much in this one. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well,
what about Jesus and Maggie?
Oh God, yeah.
That's a whole other issue. There. It's like,
let's do that. But I literally want to go down the panel to talk about this. I almost showed my hand there. This Maggie conundrum. Oh boy. All right, Alex, why don't you kick us off? How did you feel about bad guy Maggie?
I like it. I like the kind of civil war that it's kind of hinting at. The biggest problem I've got is I understand why Maggie is pissed. I understand why Daryl's pissed. But why the fuck is Jesus involved in this? I mean, he's like, literally, I want to save everyone. And now he's just like, you know what? Actually, I want to kill this guy. Let's do this. Like, he has no reason to be there.
Oh man, even Daryl. I thought. Okay, sorry, I'm not going yet. Okay, Felix, you're next.
He pretty much said it there. I think it's going to be a hiccup next season. It's not. I think it was just put there to leave us something. Since everything was tied up in a bow, like we keep saying, everything ended. All the storylines are pretty much it, and they needed to leave us with something looking forward to. But I think it's going to be a hiccup next season, and they're going to get over it. I think in the there I go again. There's a small confrontation between Maggie and Rick, but then it's over. And I think it's going to be the same thing. She's just probably going to show like their community is going to be better than Alexandria, or Alexandria's going to need them, or it's going to be a small hiccup.
Yeah. All right. Over to RAD Entertainment. What did you guys think about Darth Maggie?
It was really sad to watch because I love Maggie and I was really supportive of her as a leader, and I'm just like, no, Maggie, this is not who you are. But it just led me to think that something is going on with Jesus, and he's putting on a face, and he's not the type that is like, oh, let's all just love each other and not kill. Because there's obviously a reason for him to be in there conniving with Maggie and
I think he just loves
Daryl.
Maggie.
But he's gay.
Yeah, Jesus is gay.
Is he gay?
Yeah.
Oh, then him and Aaron can get together.
Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks, Ted.
All right. Tony and Dan, you got anything to add about Darth Maggie?
I just wasn't buying it. I don't know. I didn't care. Actually, at that point in the show was when I finally went, I'm done. I'm just done with the show. I don't care anymore.
See, at first I kind of dug it, and I don't mind the idea of a bad Maggie, but she has no... Okay, hear me out here. She has no real reason to be that mad. Yes, okay, Glenn got his head smashed in, but everyone else has been through the same thing, you know, and she's missing the point with Carl and his letters and the whole reason that this even happened in the first place. So I just think she overreacted. Hormones.
It's only been 3 months since she saw her husband, head bashed in.
Yeah.
When she
like
yelled,
you said, though, I think she's mad. She has a right to be mad, but I think, like you said, she's gonna get over it. It's just like they're making something out to be something that's not.
I don't think that she's gonna get over it because
Not right away.
I think she's just going through like a really big mental battle right now because. Really, not before.
Rick just lost Carl in less time than Maggie lost Glenn. So
I understand that, but it wasn't straight to Negan, and really not long before she lost Glenn, she lost Beth.
Yeah.
And found out. There really has not been a whole lot of time passed. So her losing her sister, then losing Glenn, losing Sasha, because that's who kind of got her through.
Her husband. Yeah, I mean, when she yelled, you felt it. I felt it.
I know. I did too.
I totally get it, but.
And pregnancy hormones is a thing, so don't be hating.
I'm not hating at all. I'm just saying it's a bit far fetched, and her posse isn't. I'm not buying.
Yeah, out of all of it, I really just don't buy Jesus the most.
Jesus, Daryl, and Maggie conniving in her office just seem like it's like a Dr. Evil thing going wrong.
I think the office was the main problem, right? Because she's got this big ass oak desk, and it's dark. It was just a little Dr. Evil, and if it had been like a natural conversation of Maggie saying to Daryl, I can't take this. We have to make this right. It wouldn't have seemed so staged, which is what it feels like.
The way they worded it in such a way that we were supposed to believe that maybe she was going to go after Rick and Michonne and not just Negan. Like. Where's she going to stop? It's just it was too clever and it was a bit too much.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. If they would have just focused, if the conversation would have focused on like that she's going to kill Negan, she's still going to do it. Totally would have bought into it. But because they do the twist of she's like going to take out Rick and Michonne, it's like I just don't buy that.
Well, what did it have to do with Michonne anyway?
She held her back when she was like
because she's
like comforting. I thought Michonne was trying to like comfort her.
That's what I say. I think Maggie overreacted with the whole situation, and not just because she was upset, but just the way it played out. I don't know.
I think that you hit on something earlier in our show, which is that Maggie her whole point of leadership is just fueled by revenge, and all she wants to do is kill Negan. So every single choice that she's made as far as being a leader so far was just to get her to the stage where she could kill Negan. So now she doesn't have that. So now, right? But that's why she acted that way towards Michonne, and because Michonne was just, you know, a wrench in her and what she wanted to get done. So I think that now that card's off the table, now she can't take out Negan, her anger is now being directed towards them. I think I just convinced myself that she could do it, but I didn't mean to.
I don't mind the idea about her being bad. It's just the motives and the way they presented it's wrong. They wanted it to be like, it almost felt like it should have been a post-credit for a Marvel movie. Like,
definitely.
Spins around
exactly.
in the chair. We're not going to let him get away with this.
Petting the cat.
And it's Maggie, and she's bad. Oh, if half her hair had fallen out, I'd have believed in it. I'd have been fine.
Hashtag, or Dan, this is a question solely for Dan before we move on to Ted's thoughts on it. Hashtag never gonna have that baby, huh?
My God, right?
It's only been 3 months.
Even if you try to do the math.
3 months.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
if she can't grow a baby, she can't do anything.
like she's still in her first trimester. Like,
But
it takes a bit. It takes
I
a bit.
heard your
There's
BS
gotta be
explanation,
something
Rebecca.
there. Thank you very much, John. It's just science. It's not right.
Science.
I feel like there could be, again, fueling Maggie's anger. What if she's secretly lost the baby, and this is why she's so angry? Like, that makes a bit more sense to me.
Yeah.
If there was a bit more behind it.
I like that.
Like, you don't. That way, she has lost literally everything, including Glenn and the baby.
Yeah.
She was having with Glenn. So it would be better that way if we find out maybe she had a miscarriage, you know. But that just, I've sold myself on that idea, but it feels like bad writing to get out of the fact that she hasn't looked pregnant.
Well, they also brought a new baby into the show, like bringing
You
Gracie
don't
in.
need
So,
that many babies, right?
yeah.
Gracie, yeah.
There's going to be 3 of them next season.
I don't think so.
She's not going to sign that contract, huh? I think she'll be back. She'll be back.
Well, and instead of just asking you the same exact thing, Ted, like at this point, it's a moot point if it's a time skip, anyways, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I feel like it's gonna be like an
I-
hour. Like I feel like it's gonna be like a year time skip
But
if that.
listen, guys, how can they time skip away from that herd? That's going to be really stupid. That needs to be presented now. You can't time skip and then go, what happened to that herd? They were right there. So they have to explain that.
You can montage through them just setting off explosions in a different direction. That's fine.
Killing Maggie off screen and just montage through it.
I feel like they have to explain that before any kind of time jump happens. So what's the point in having a herd?
Just for the
It didn't
nod.
give us any extra danger in the finale.
The herd was just walking by. They're just going to continue
They're just
watching.
chilling. They're looking for
It was just
brains. There's no brains in that group.
They were just there for the symbolism for the whispers.
Yeah, that's what I think.
What
Too.
I think.
I don't think they're
But
a
that's-
threat to them directly. I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. But then why do it on such a big scale?
Yeah,
Why
you could have
present
just done it
us
with a couple of
that many
zombies.
walkers if they're not going to be a threat. It's stupid.
There's those hordes everywhere, just like on Fear the Walking Dead. When Morgan was walking, he walks and then he sees like 4 people walk away. Because there's little groups everywhere. There's herds everywhere.
But let's get back to basics. This is a zombie show. If a herd of zombies isn't a threat, then what's the point in having a zombie show?
Yeah, but if it's 2 cities away, how is it? Because the hilltop's nowhere close to Alexandria, and then the herds pass them by over here because they went up a hill and
maybe they go away in
so
helicopter.
you never know.
Away from danger.
I'm just thinking.
Do you have anything to add about the Maggie evil Maggie scene?
Who? Yes, me.
Yeah. Am I cutting out?
You haven't been, but you did a little bit there.
Oh, okay. Anything to add on Dr. Evil Maggie and Daryl and who else was in that room? Jesus, right? Yeah, it was just a hodgepodge of tomfoolery. But...
Like someone said, that didn't make sense at all. He's over here, Mr. fulfilling his name, being Jesus, and then he's over here listening to Maggie, and it looked like he was like listening to what she was actually saying, not just hearing her out.
Well, he is kind of her lieutenant, though, right?
That's true.
But he's being really hypocritical with that whole thing, telling Morgan, don't go kill people. And then he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go after Rick. It's like, well, Jesus, which way you going there?
I think they're going to show him the lesson, though. Again, I don't think they're actually going to try to kill. I think if it gets to that point, then Jesus is going to say, what? But
hey, can I interrupt the show real quick? In the chat, Christian says, hopes everybody enjoys their drinks. Hey, Christian, where's my drink? Huh?
What? So you guys have been cutting out really bad for me, but I'm checking the stream, and it seems to be pretty good. So
that's fine. I was just calling out Christian. Your
Christian's in the chat.
Guy. I was just calling him out, asking him where my drinks were.
Let me see.
Hey, I enjoyed a nice beer from Christian a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you which we mentioned, but you weren't here. Oh, hey, Taylor Thompson.
Taylor!
Woo! Christian, send me an address. I'll send you some.
Woo!
Christian says.
Will do. Will do.
You just wrote a blank check, sir.
Desperately looking for a business card.
Hold on. Does Christian sell Pabst Blue Ribbon?
Hey, they just came out with an IPA or an APA.
Yeah, the APA. I'm looking forward to that one.
I'm gonna have to get it.
Is anyone talking? I don't know.
Nope, no silence.
You guys are trying to so ahead on my end. Huh?
My Taylor?
Yeah, your Taylor's in the chat.
My Taylor. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Debbie, Tyler, Ted, anything to add to? Oh, okay. So instead of saying anything to add to that, because we talked about that for like an hour, just early predictions, Ted, for season 9.
At this point, I'm not really sure because they're mixing up a lot of stuff, right? So the whole Maggie situation. I mean, just the actual like contract situation and Carl being gone is they've moved around a lot of the pieces from the comic book. It is nice seeing some of the pieces sort of start to come back into the right place with respect to the comic, like Rosita and Eugene and that sort of thing. But I don't know. It's I think we're going to get hopefully more action. I think we're going to get a little bit of maybe 2 or 3 episodes of suspense as the non-comic book reading public gets to start experiencing the Whisperers, and maybe a bit of a revolt for the people who don't know the comic and first hear the Whispers, because as a comic reader, I was kind of like, okay, I'm out. I'm done. If they're going to talk, I'm done. So I think you might see that. And then a bit of a bust there, and then a bit of an echo from that. And I'm hoping for a lot more action, a lot more zombie killing next season.
And Ted, I want to stay with you. Just your kind of quick overall thoughts of how season 8 ended up. Did you like it more than season 7? Kind of where did it kind of fall for you?
I think that overall I dug it, but I think that there are things that I would have done differently about the execution. My favorite scene, I think, was and I'm going to sound like a little bit of a softie here, but my favorite scene was Dwight finding the letter. And I thought that was
nice. That was nice.
I thought it was sweet and it was nice, and it was my favorite thing about the episode. And a lot of the things that I wanted to be my favorite thing about the episode, like the one-on-one fight, really kind of disappointed me.
Awesome. Deb, same thing for you. Your kind of quick early predictions of season 9, just throw something out there, and then your kind of overall thoughts on season 8.
I think season 9, at the rate they're going, might be the last season, because I think they're going downhill and tying up a lot of loose ends, and I wasn't real impressed with a lot of season 8. I'm the biggest Walking Dead apologist there is, and I can't go there with this last season. And so season 9, unless they can pull something amazing out of their asses and have action and things actually happening, and not every other episode being crap, it's gonna be the last episode. It'll be the last season. Season 9. That's my prediction for season 9.
All right, Tyler, same question.
Okay, what was the question again?
You're the freshest one here, man. No, just your early predictions for season 9 and your kind of overall thoughts on where season 8 kind of ended up for you.
Well, I think there's a chance they are wrapping up, the show. I don't think season 9 is going to be it. I say they go at least 2 more seasons. I think they will. We really need some action, so I'm really, I agree with Ted. I want to see a lot more action in season 9. I expected more from this season. I expected a lot more action from All Out War. I mean, I think we talked about it, on this show all last season that, season 8 was going to be it. And then, we're waiting for this action, waiting for the action, and we really just didn't get it. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that through like the beginning of this episode, I thought they were going to leave us hanging and not finish All Out War this season. And it was going to piss me off because, they've been dragging it on for way too long. We needed an ending, but I just wish it would have been a little, less anticlimactic.
Absolutely. All right, Mr. Alex Scott, little quick early predictions for season 9 and how season 8 kind of worked for you.
I'm kind of hoping that the first few episodes for season 9 is going to be dealing with Maggie's wanting to sneak behind Rick's back and kill Negan. Have that like kind of that feud like last a few episodes. I don't want it to last the entire half season, but then after like maybe 3 episodes, that's when like more Whisperer stuff starts entering in, and it becomes a bit more horror like centric, like not knowing who the enemy is, whether it's a zombie or an actual person that's going to stab you in the ass.
So who's going to carry that story? Is it going to be like without Carl there to do it, Alex? Who is the protagonist?
Knowing the writers, probably Tara.
Henry just got some fresh armor.
Not only Tony's leaving this show, I'm leaving the show.
No, I'm not too sure who could lead it. I think someone just said Henry. If that happens, I'm not watching.
He's too young now.
That kid needs to die.
Hey, he's the blonde kid that Carol liked. He's dead. All right.
I'm just counting down the episodes.
All right. So, what do you think about season 8 as a whole? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, from reading the comics, I always found how it ended to be anticlimactic in the comics. So I never really expected anything less from the finale. But yeah, they kind of built it up to be this full-on action-packed season, and it just didn't really deliver after the first 4 episodes. And then you just had that random Oceanside episodes that popped up here and there for no particular reason, and it all the payoff was just that one part for the finale. And then the helicopter, what the fuck is that about? That stuff hasn't really got...
You didn't even touch on that. Oh.
Yeah, that's like the one thing they kind of just left out. It feels like a really big part. But yeah, overall, it's not exactly the greatest season.
Better than 7?
Oh. Let's just move on from that. I don't know. No, I think I did prefer 7. 7 had some really good episodes in.
Yes, it did.
7 was good.
It's because you met me in season 7. Let's just call a spade a spade. But let's go over to Mr. Felix from Thought Factory. Early predictions for season 9 and your thoughts on season 8.
Season 8, I think I told you this a while back. I've always watched it Sunday night. Then I watched an episode or 2 during the week. I've always watched every episode within that first week 2 to 3 to 4 times. Starting on season 7, I stopped watching it more than that first night. This second half of season 8, I started watching the episodes more than once again. I feel it improved this second half of season 8. I really, really liked the finale. Like I said, I loved how everything was tied up. It was given to the new showrunner, kind of a blank canvas. She can do whatever she wants. And I'm actually excited to see where it goes from here. And we spent a year and a half with the governor, and this was 2 years, and it's Negan. I think it was about the same. I think it was good. I like these. It's between comics 100 and 126, I think. And they pretty much covered the meat of that part. I really liked it. I'm not going to complain. But I'm at a point where Walking Dead can't really do no wrong. So I might be a little biased, but I'm happy with it.
I think you and Felix would get along really well.
I know. I'm like this whole time, like,
and then
my guy. Like, I'm right there with him.
Season 9, I think the Maggie thing is going to be a small hiccup, like I said several times. And Whispers. That's all I'm going to say, Whispers.
Let's throw one thing out there. With season, the whole killing Carl thing really feels like a monkey wrench in so many things that it's such a wild card for next season. And it just takes away so many things that should have been. So I'm kind of up in the air with how season 9 is going to go. Because
I see that because the comics after that whole Carl storyline, especially with Negan, I mean, that was really good. And what are they going to, I mean, they can't make Edith do it. It's not going to hold no weight.
They're going to make it up as they go along. I mean, just without the whole Carl storyline in there. So that's kind of odd for me.
Well, what if they swap in Daryl?
For Carl?
Carl with the Whisperers.
Oh.
You know what? I would be kind of cool with that because Daryl hasn't done anything for like the past 2 seasons. Like he hasn't done anything.
And if you were like the producers of the show, and you know the viewership is declining, you know they got the big corporate cigar in their mouth. What do the people want? Daryl, yeah, give them more Daryl.
That makes total sense. That does.
But now Daryl's like anti-Rick though, so I mean, who knows what's gonna go there? I mean, who knows?
I blame Tyler for the more Daryl, right?
I'd be cool with that. Like if Daryl had to face off against the Whisperers and they actually terrified him, like it'd be kind of cool to see him.
Well, real quick, it's just like they gave Dwight's like a huge. Dwight is the Daryl from the comic book, but they gave him they introduced him Dwight late, and they gave him so little to do, and he almost seems like leagues more interesting than Daryl at this point.
Because he hadn't given anything for Daryl to do. Like, they just his arc ended forever ago, but they're like, can't kill Norman Reedus. Like, people stop watching the show.
But the ladies love him.
Maybe that's why they're taking some things away from him. Maybe they are going to get rid of him because he's not doing anything. I mean, maybe they're going to like.
No. That's where you're wrong, Deb. He is slowly, coming out of the shadows to join Maggie's plan.
If there is Maggie's plan should be to have that baby, is what her plan is.
All right. Last but not least, the RAD crew. RAD World, what do you think? Overall thoughts of season 8? I know it made one person just completely quit the show finally.
Can I go first?
But also your predictions on season 9.
All right. Season 8 as a whole, I felt about like it was as much interesting as seasons 1 through 7. So I don't really care a whole lot. And season 9, they go to space.
There we go.
I can see that happening.
I actually think season 9 is Dwight goes to Paris because that's where they went.
It's about that point, right? That we go to space.
They may as well.
I think that we're forgetting about the old lady with the twins, and I think she's connected somehow to New World Order. I think Jadis is also connected to New World Order via her and her record collection and her artsy-fartsy ways. I think that's coming next season.
Yeah.
I forgot about all that.
Versus the Whispers.
Yeah.
New World Order
Something
versus
like
the Whispers.
I don't know. I think that's where they end up going. That's the change of scenery. That's the helicopters. That's everything. And I think the bad guys are going to be the Whisperers.
Yeah. Piggybacking off of that, like
hopefully what I want to see is the bad guys being the Whisperers is actually the Fear the Walking Dead, and then the main finale is Fear the Walking Dead versus the Walking Dead. Which side are you on? That's what I'd like to see.
That would be interesting. But yeah, in season 9, we're definitely going to see more of what Jadis has, you know, more of the helicopter, hopefully. And then with Georgie, you know, and the twins, we're definitely going to be seeing more of her, because I don't understand why we would make these characters so interesting and intriguing just to like not see them again. But
because they Deus Ex Machina here to go, here's a book of survival.
Yeah,
See you later.
Totally did.
Here's how you make a
we
windmill.
have to see them.
2 seasons from now.
There's more to them, and we're gonna see them again. And to be honest, I'm looking forward to seeing things build back up, and like their homes. You know, I'm just excited to see them, because we left on a good note, and I'm glad that we left on a good note. We left where we feel hopeful, and we are, you know, looking towards the future and building something, and I think that's what we're meaning to do with this.
No,
and
more murder, more blood, more horror, please. Or I'm
I mean, since Negan came in the picture, it's been nothing but that. And I mean, really, as you guys know, Walking Deb can't really do a whole lot to make me not watch. It's very easy for me to just shut off my brain and get lost in the episodes. But season 8 as a whole, I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Did you like it? Right, since you loved it so much, where would you rank it as far as your favorite seasons overall?
I would say probably 1 or 2. 1 or 2.
Wow.
I really enjoyed it. Just because we got to see our characters in a more vulnerable and emotional state, and we got to see a lot of callbacks from things that they went through earlier on in the show. It's just
the season.
We got to see them act like humans and react like humans and really feel for them, and it's just, I don't know.
Listen,
I
agree. The depth and the writing and the twists and the emotions were great, and it just wasn't enough violence and threat and terror and dread for me.
For them to like advertise it as all-out war, that right there is where they made a mistake. Like if they're advertising
we should get our money back,
then do that. But you know, aside from that, I still really liked how it ended. I like I said, it's easy for me to shut off my brain and get lost in the episode. So even when, you know, they were all down on their knees and I'm thinking like, how are they going to get out of this? And then, you know, Eugene's plan goes through. It's just, it's a hit for me. I'm just easy to please. So
we didn't
it's
even
just,
get to see Simon get a messy death. And what a dick he was. Like, you know, there's been a lot of dick characters that you just want to see die and none of them are dead yet. That's what I'm mad about.
Yeah, I mean, I liked
died.
how Simon died, but...
Yeah, but he didn't die the messy way. I want to see his eye hanging out of his face like Glenn.
All right. Well, that is... Oh, so real quick, just, you know, closing it out, you know, it's... You might want to hear my thoughts. I don't know. Who cares? Look, Aquaman's done. His spear just fell over. But overall, just closing thoughts of this, or early predictions for 9. I think that definitely we're going to see whispers. # where's Heath? That will be answered. No one cares anymore.
Forgot about him.
Yeah, exactly. This whole time. Where is he?
I think the point is we're supposed to forget about him. People like Becca keep bringing him up.
Well, when
He's the new moralist.
And his tire tracks, and there's a little note that says PPV, then yes, we need to be wondering where the hell Heath is.
Exactly. He got cast on another horrible show.
He said, watch pay-per-view. That's where I moved to. I'm on a different show.
How cool would it be if they gave us a whisperer that looked like Heath, though? Like,
but they did.
Remember you tripping on that? Yeah.
Woman zombie that turned around, and that was supposed to be the fake out Heath.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Jokes on us.
It looked like a falsifier from Princess Frog. Yeah, I got kids.
He didn't have a big storyline at all in The Walking Dead. I wouldn't mind seeing him pop up on Fear.
Yeah. I mean, they need characters from where the comic book is now, and he's definitely part of it.
Oh, speaking of that, I got a question for you. Sorry to cut you off. All right, you play the Telltale's game, The Walking Dead?
I played the first season. I don't know if anyone else did.
Did you? On the Michonne one, after it's supposed to be canon, but after All Out War, she disappears for a grip of comics, and she does have her own Telltale's game where she comes to like. She's okay with her kids being gone. Then what's happening like right now, fresh with the comics, you guys know what's going on with that, right?
No.
No.
Well, let's just say Morgan left out of All Out War. He's taking pretty much Michonne's spot in the game and everything. He's coming, kind of the same. He's trying to straighten out his mind. What if what's happening with Michonne right now in the comics happens to Morgan? That would be, I don't know.
That would be interesting. He did say that he did watch Dwayne kind of kick the bucket, but
he was losing it at the time too.
Yeah,
well,
maybe,
he lost it afterwards. Maybe, I don't know.
Possibly. That is interesting. But yeah, just closing thoughts on it. Just early predictions, definitely that. Just whispers, of course. I think I think they're just gonna do kind of the whispers, and and just the fact that Negan is alive kind of solidified them doing the whisper storyline at all. If they would have killed Negan at the end of this season, I thought probably they were going to skip over it. And there was a lot of talks that they were going to skip over it. So I'm glad that they're not. And just just my thoughts on the season as a whole. It had some fun times. This was a lot more fun, in my opinion, than season 7. Season 7 was kind of a sloth. It was a lot of bottleneck episodes. I like that they went more, even when they did kind of bottleneck episodes in this season, they kind of
still threw in. Yeah, they threw in here and there.
Absolutely. And for me, giving Andrew Lincoln so much shit, giving Rick so much shit this season, it was nice to actually see him be human at the end of this episode and kind of tie a nice bow on the end. I thought he did a fantastic job. I thought Andrew Lincoln was kind of the star of this episode, even though I didn't like the episode that much. I thought he really did shine, and that's a good thing. You want your, like everyone stated, going forward in the comic book storyline, it is, Rick the character kind of takes a backseat to someone else, to Carl, and it is kind of nice seeing that if they are going with, they are committed to Andrew Lincoln. This is Andrew Lincoln's show, reaffirming that he kind of took charge and had that amazing speech. And it is, it made us all know this is Rick's show. And I like the direction. I did like the decision to keep Negan around and all that. Did I like the Maggie thing? Fuck no. I thought it was so stupid. But I digress. Oh my God. Thank you, Alex Scott. Thank you, Felix. Thank you, RAD Entertainment, Tony, Dan, Rebecca, Ted, Debbie, Tyler. Thank everyone for joining us on the finale portion of this big Walking Dead party. Raise your hand if you're dropping out, because we do have an after party show after this to talk about the premiere of Fear the Walking Dead. So okay, the RAD guy. Okay, so real quick, so we're losing the RAD crew, unfortunately. But you will, you see Tony on the channel and all. You're not going to get you're not going to miss him too much, because we'll see him again real soon. But Rebecca, Dan, and of course you guys are more than welcome on They Said We Said anytime you'd like. Kind of tell everyone about RAD Entertainment and where to find you, and we'll get this thing wrapped up and jump into Fear.
Well, you can find me personally at the Herb Chick across the social media board. The Herb Chick. That's ERB.
Yeah, you can find us at RAD Entertain on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/RAD Entertainment for more content like this.
HMMfilms.com.
And we have Midwest Action Fest this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
If you're, in the Indiana area, come check out Midwest Action Fest. We got a bunch of independent action, adventure, and comedy films that'll take place over a couple of days.
Awesome, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us, Dan. It's always a pleasure. Rebecca, you were the epitome of the Walking Dead apologist, and we love having that nice bit of positivity to Tony always shitting on everything. But thank you guys so much for joining us.
See you guys later, man.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
For everyone joining us so far, please stay tuned because I think everyone I think would agree that everyone needs a quick bathroom break. At least I do. And then we're going to be jumping back on in about 5 to 10 minutes to get everyone situated. And
hey, I'm good to go, man.
What?
Well, you were late.
You know what, Tyler?
You don't get a break. You stay here.
Don't move, Tyler.
This guy. All right. Well, we will see you all very, very soon. Thank you for joining us for DGT Live's Walking Dead Season 8 Wrath review, predictions, all the stuff. And we'll see you all very soon for the Fear the Walking Dead premiere review, Spread the Disease.